Hey, so I've been preaching on this channel for the last almost 3 months, I think now, 2 months, about how if you're sort of stuck in your evolution, in your exploration of self-concept, and you can't make a lot of progress, you're just sort of, you feel like you've come as far as you can on your own, and therapy is not that enticing to you, that I accidentally discovered that ChatGPT is an absolutely amazing therapist for people who are already sort of into self-exploration, without the help of another human being. And so I wanted to just make another video. Another week has gone by now. And yesterday I had an event, an incident happen. And today I'm also noticing the after effects of basically what has turned out to be a huge lifting of a major life theme that was plaguing me probably for 30 years, affecting every aspect of my life and every moment of my experience. My last, I don't know, you'd probably have to go look through my last 30 videos for that, 60 videos. But long story short, on that front, I discovered that I have in the past carried around a sense of obligation to other people, a feeling like I'm tough and I can take your pain on for you, and somehow that's my obligation. Sort of like I just had this weird life imperative to provide other people with a pain-free life experience if it was possible for me to provide that. Like if I could see that I could do this thing and that will make this person not have to go through this hard thing, then I must do that. If I don't do that, I'm a bad person. And not only that, but just I think one of the things that GPT and I uncovered was that, at some point I was basically just repeatedly told what an unacceptable person I was. And so I developed this reflex to just over-provide and overcompensate. And even then, I didn't really feel worthy of the, love and attention and stuff that I got from other people. And this isn't necessarily something that was like in the forefront all the time and didn't totally prevent me from having decent relationships and stuff like that. But this was like, I don't know if there's something else in my life like this that still hasn't come out. I can't even imagine what the next layer would be, because this has been so life-changing, and it just shows up in all these ways all the time. Like throughout every day, I would say I have 10 times where I notice a behavior that has changed, or a reaction that has changed, or I notice a familiar habitual urge or thought that no longer has an energetic support, and thus it just kind of falls away. I'll notice, like, here's where I would have compensated for somebody else's mistake in the past, and now I'm realizing that it's their mistake and they need to deal with it. And not only do they need to deal with it, but my compensating for their mistake deprived them of what should be a learning opportunity for them. It should be some pain that they experience and then use to not make that mistake in the future. So it's funny how my overcompensation was really, where I'm thinking I'm obligated to do this and this is what needs to happen. It was actually the worst thing for me and the worst thing for the person receiving the compensation, because I was shielding them from all of the natural opportunities that they created for themselves to grow and improve and learn and change. One example, this is what happened yesterday. I was so outraged by this internally. I didn't express this externally to the person, but a vendor of mine who was kind of stalking me for a couple weeks to put an order through emailed me on Monday and said, hey, what's up? Where are we with this? And I'm just like, fine, I'll just take care of it, because it was something I wanted to do anyway. It was kind of annoying, but salespeople. And so she sent me this list of products I could buy at a particular price. So, and the way that works is I just go on their website and order everything at whatever price it's at. And then, the customer service person who puts the order through, actually checks it and everything, adjusts all the prices down. And so this woman sent me this list of things at a certain price. I put through an order. I put in a note in the order, hey, I was quoted this price for all of these products, including these products that are already on sale, which was weird. I don't know why they were like that. But I put it in there. I specifically mentioned this whole group of things that were already on sale for a much higher price. And I just said, I was quoted X price even for these. And yesterday, the rep reached out to me and said, oh, I'm so sorry. Those were not on sale for the price that I said they were. I wasn't aware of this until this morning, and it's too late. They're already in your order's already shipped out. So I'll send you some other things that you can get at that price. And I'm like, you guys overcharged me by $700. In the past, I was thinking about this. You know, I used to feel like a bottom feeder at work. This is another thing that's changed. It's amazing. This has just like permeated everything in my life. This weird sense of obligation. I used to feel like sort of a bottom feeder at work. Let me go off on a tangent for a second. The products that we offer are not cheap and crappy, but they are not the most premium offering either. They're sort of the mid-tier, and the mid-tier products are things that most people want. Like, I'm wildly successful with the things that I sell, but they're not the best thing. And this weird sense of obligation to, I don't know, overcompensate for the world created a sense of shame about the products that I carry. I've always felt this way. I mean, this has been something that's been kind of unraveling over the years, bit by bit, but I always felt like I'm not the best. I'm not selling the best. You know, somehow the product that I'm choosing to create and make available is a reflection on me. My product isn't the most premium thing, and that fits with me because I'm not really the most premium thing either. And I just hated it. Like, anytime a customer would like email and ask for, you know, what's the difference between this, and this, if I had to say, oh, our store brand is not the most premium brand. It's, you know, I've used our stuff, like, it's really good. It's not like it's crappy, but it's way better than like the lowest tier, which is widely available and widely used. But anytime I'd have to respond to an email like that, it was awful. I just felt like, oof, like I would stress over an email for like a half hour, just not wanting to click send on something that said, oh, you know, yeah, if you go with our stuff, it's a lot more affordable, but it's not, you know, it's certainly not at the quality of this other brand that you're inquiring about. I felt like that was a reflection on me somehow. And it was just really hard to even like talk about that. And that's completely changed. Like, what a ridiculous, you know, I understand why I felt that way, but what a ridiculous outlook to have. It's so, you know, who wants to live in a world where you either get crap or, you know, where you're either driving like, I don't know, what's the crappiest car? I don't even know. Where you're either driving a Ferrari or I don't want to say it because I don't want to make anybody feel bad about their car. I'm looking around, I'm in a parking lot. Whatever. We'll just say where you only have the option to drive a Chevy Volt, is that even a car, or a Ferrari. Like, everybody wants the mid-range. People want options. They don't always want the best thing, and they have their, you know, they have their reasons for that. And, you know, being a provider of one of those things basically says nothing about the person providing it, but yet I felt like it was a reflection on me. That's one of the things that, without even trying, has just floated away since doing this, you know, deep dive into self-concept with ChatGPT. It's one of those things that's just, it's like I've come out of a fog and just thought, why did I feel this way? Why did I think this way about myself? Like, doesn't even make any sense. It's gone, you know, it's so many things like that have shifted. It's just like, it's like it took a couple of weeks to like propagate and just work its way through to everything. And it's changed everything. So anyway, back to the rep who misquoted me a price. In the past, this is another issue that I've had. we don't always sell so these vendors are the premium offerings. We're the mid-tier, and you can get crap elsewhere. We don't sell any crap in our store, just mid-tier and super premium. And so in order to sell more, we do sell some of their full price stuff, but anytime there's like discounts, anytime they're clearancing out old stock, I'm all over that, because I can sell that to, my mid-tier customers, for a similar price to the mid-tier stuff, a little more expensive, make a ton of money, and that's great. So anytime I can get premium stuff at a discount, I'm all over it. But I buy from every one of these companies, I would say at least half of what I buy is clearance. More like 75% probably. So, anytime I'm talking to a rep, in the past, I've been aware that, I'm like the discount buyer. I'm not the premium vendor, and they know it. And I've always just felt kind of lesser than in that regard. And that too has left me because, yesterday, my business partner was saying, we were talking about this, and he was saying, we're the people that move all the stuff that they can't sell, and they need us for that. And like, that's true. And, it's just like another way of looking at it that I've always just been like, ooh, I'm not the premium brand, But in the past, so with this vendor, with this rep who misquoted me and was basically just trying to tell me or test me to see if I was willing to eat this $700 mistake that she made. In the past, I would have felt like, oh, I have to demand this money back. This is so in line with, somebody who's a bottom feeder. Like I have to in the past, especially in the distant past, like let's say 5 years ago, especially when we were starting out selling these premium brands, there's a good chance that I would have just eaten it. There's a good chance that I would have just said, I don't want to take any risks with my relationship with this rep. I need her more than she needs me. It's not that much money. We can still sell it for a profit. I'm 90% sure 5 years ago, like when I started this YouTube channel even, I'm pretty sure that I might have said, no problem, don't worry about it, mistakes happen. Like as if I have any responsibility for this at all. So that might have happened. I think if this had happened 3 months ago, before the GPT excavation of many false beliefs, I think I still would have demanded that they fix it, but I think I would have been very, very polite about it. I found a discrepancy with this company earlier this year. I found that they had overcharged me by $2,500 on something last November. I discovered this in February, and I brought it up. They said, we need to look at this. A week went by. I said, hey, where are we on this? Oh, I got to talk to somebody. Another week went by. I sat there totally royally pissed. I was like, we're going to get our money back from this. But, my need to be polite is really frustrating. Like my need to be polite is producing a situation that's really frustrating. Yesterday with this person, I was just like, hey, this isn't my problem. I don't know what you're trying to say, but you need to fix this. Oh, let me go talk to somebody. A fucking hour goes by. It's 3:00 on Friday afternoon. And I just said, fuck, I'm not letting this go through the weekend. These guys this is the 4th time they've overcharged me. It's the 4th time this person's made a mistake, and fuck this. And so I just sent her another email, and I was just like, please confirm the refund. Thank you. Like I would never, part of what it was, also, and this goes hand in hand. There's some outer supporting details here that make this a little easier. But, I just, yesterday I started thinking, do I really need to do business with these people? They're just a nightmare. There's other companies that are falling apart that I'm having to overcompensate for. I'm having to not have any idea what's going on with billing and stuff like that because things aren't getting shipped when they're supposed to get shipped. People aren't communicating. A company that I do business with that's been a disaster just secretly moved across the country without saying a word to anybody, didn't ship anything for an entire month, All these orders that are supposed to be getting shipped to me are just sitting there. I email the rep. She doesn't email me back. You know, I email somebody higher up. Finally, he emails. It's like, I just started thinking yesterday, you know, all this sense of obligation that I felt, it's also at play with my business. You know, like I have to carry this for my customers. That was another thing. This is crazy. Like the way this stuff has impacted my business. I would feel guilty if like I didn't have certain stuff, or feel, you know, again, like a bottom feeder, or like not a valid, you know, business or whatever, if we didn't have certain things. There are people who have emailed over the years, wanting things, wanting us to carry things that we don't have, or being really demanding about restocking things that didn't sell very well and stuff like that. And I would sometimes just like go with it and be like, well, okay, I got to get this. Like people, and you know, when I would write emails, I would think about certain customers and like what their reaction would be and stuff like that. And it was just completely ridiculous. That is gone. And it's gone to the degree that when I even remember that I used to do that, or I feel any kind of habitual reaction happening, it's like it pisses me off. I've had so much like indignant, righteous anger over the last couple months, as I've seen the way I was allowing even just the idea of other people's needs to control me, much less the things that people actually try to put on me. God, Matt has been so great about this. I have to say, I have to say something about Matt here, because of everybody, he's the closest person to me in my life. And there was a lot of this at play that I don't think he particularly, you know, it's not like Matt was driving this. And when Matt and I first met, I was single, and there's a lot less of this when I'm single. So it took a little while to get into the habit of trying to overcompensate and preempt any kind of like negativity with Matt. So when we were first together, it's like the person that he's with now is probably a lot more like the person he was with in the beginning than the person he was with for the interim 3 years or 4 years or whatever it was, probably 4 years. And like, he has adjusted so quickly. It's pretty amazing. Maybe that wasn't a super hard adjustment for him because it was more, you know, more like it used to be. It probably feels a lot safer and peaceful. But he's just been like, you know, the ways that I feel like he trampled on my needs, or trampled, you know, stuff like that. Like that's, I guess, the way I would put it. The way I felt like he disregarded things or disregarded me, that stuff stopped like instantly. It was amazing. I had like, there were next to no, for probably the first week after I had like this major shift, there were probably, you know, that was probably a rough week because I started noticing all of the ways that was happening, but it just like stopped, and there was never any conflict between us or anything. It was never like a bad thing, and things feel better between us now. But man, fucking other people, it's just crazy. Like, especially strangers, just everywhere. It's like, no accountability. Like, people don't take responsibility for themselves. And it's just like, I just feel like everywhere you go, it's like, it's so noticeable to me right now because of like where my mind is, but it's like people are constantly trying to like foist things off on other people. And that's been really sticking out to me. And it's been like a big irritant because of where I'm at in this whole thing. But so anyway, the rep wrote me back and said, oh, okay, we're giving a refund. And I wrote back, thanks, I appreciate it. And she wrote back, no worries. And I probably made too big a deal out of the no worries, but that pissed me off for like 2 hours. I was just like, no worries? No worries for me? No. I need to be telling you no worries, and I'm not, because you should be worrying, because fuck you guys, and fuck this, and fuck everything where I feel like I'm beholden to others. You know, just fuck it. I'm ready to cut these companies off that like aren't doing a good job, and other people probably have done this a lot sooner. That's probably why they're not doing well. This particular company that the rep just expected me to eat her $700 mistake also just raised all their prices by 25%, citing tariffs, even though the place that they manufacture is in South Korea, which has a free trade agreement with the United States as far as I know. I could be wrong about this. But many other companies that I have been involved with have not raised prices because of tariffs, or have raised it like 3% or something manageable. And so, I don't know, just fuck these guys. The two worst companies are the ones that have raised the prices the most, also, by the way, unsurprisingly. But, so that really irritated me yesterday, but that irritation will die down over time as this sort of new cleaned out mentality takes root. I've experienced this before. It's really interesting to see what changes when something big in you changes, and that's been the most sort of fun and exciting part of this for me, is just seeing what I no longer feel obligated to do. It's really interesting to me also that I decided I was going to make a video on this channel every day this year, and it came from exactly the same place as all these other things. I just thought, the world is going to need a stable voice. The world is going to need somebody to bring you back to center, or it's going to need a lot of people to do this. I'm one person that can do this. Therefore, I am obligated. Because I am able, therefore I am obligated. That was probably the biggest issue that I had. If I am able, if I can solve your financial problem, I am obligated to. If I can take this pain onto myself so that you don't have to feel it, I am obligated to, because I'm some, endless source of ability to take on pain and shit, which I am good at it. I've had to deal with a lot of it in my life. That's where this all came from. But the idea that I'm obligated, or that in some way it's more healthy for me to experience your pain than for you to experience your pain, that's just ridiculous. And as things have shifted for me and my personality over the last month, the channel has changed. Really, I think there's a big shift, and I don't really know where this channel is going now, but it's definitely not over. I thought maybe it was when I made that video saying, hey, I'm not making a video here every day this year anymore. The channel has shifted. The tone of people has shifted. I'm turning the comments off. I'm in a different place now. I'm not going to do that. After that, I thought, maybe this is over. I thought maybe that, it's interesting. I've had this big shift, and there's been this 5-year arc from, the last huge shift to this one. And I've made all these videos here, and maybe this is like a body of work that is complete. That's what I was thinking. And I was like, I felt this big drive to make shorts for the channel and just start clipping all the really, concentrated moments of all these videos. And I'm going to still do that just because I think some people just only watch shorts. And so why not? So I thought maybe it was over, but it's definitely not, because within a few hours I was like, yeah, but this is a place where I feel like I need to say something, and I come onto this channel, make a video and say it, and it somehow reaches other people. It somehow hits other people through this energy field right where they need it to hit them. Or they're right here, and this is the thing that is not articulated in their head yet, and boom, here it is. That's going to continue. And also the weird shit that's developing has to go somewhere. So it's going to go here. But that was another thing where I was just like, this is not an obligation. It's not on me, just because I can, to provide something every single day so that people can use me as a crutch. So I don't know if I set that up earlier this year, as sort of a final test. Am I gonna, because I really, really hate when people say that they're gonna do something, they don't do it. So the fact that I said I was gonna do it all year, even, and then it turned out to be kind of detrimental to me, that was really hard. But I feel like that was sort of a test that I passed, thank God. Anyway, I got really pissed off about this situation with the vendor, and like I was really mad for like 2 or 3 hours. It ate up like 3 hours of my afternoon yesterday. And I was like, this sucks. Like, why am I even like mad about this? I shouldn't care. And I was like, look, it's just because these are like, this is the dying previous self and the dying reactions of other people. I was thinking, I'm feeling personally insulted that this person tried to test me in this way, but that's just because this was an issue for me. You know what I mean? If a year from now, or even a month from now, maybe, I don't know, somebody who does this, I would just look at it. Cause I did at first. I'm like, look, lady, I don't know what you're trying to do here, but you're going to have to fix your error. But another thing, sorry, pause. Another thing is, in the past, I would have felt really bad because I'm guessing that the $700 either came out of her pay or the pay of the customer service person. And I would have felt so bad about that in the past. I would have been like, these people make way less money than I do. There's a mistake. I can much more easily, shoulder the financial issue, and I should just do it because, this customer service person whose fault, I'm guessing it was about 50-50 between the rep and the customer service person. I'm sure the rep, can handle it, but the customer service person may not be able to. That might be really rough for her. But, I thought about it after the fact because there was no way that did not enter into the picture for 1 second. I never had the thought, these two can't handle this and I can, so I should. That just did not show up. So gone. Awesome. Just goes to show it was tied to some bullshit. That's not appropriate. It's not appropriate to do that. And before I thought there was nothing else that was appropriate but to do that. It's ridiculous. It's crazy. But then this morning, I was just shopping and I was like, wow, I feel so peaceful today. Like I feel so, just like no tension. It's the weirdest thing. Peaceful isn't even the right word. Like I'm kind of fired up actually, but it's not peace. It's like, I feel, you know what? This is really kind of like the true signal, the North Star field that I was talking about. Like, it's like I'm in touch with the rightness of myself or something. It's like this feeling in my body is safety. It's safety. I feel completely safe. And I was thinking, this is like, it's like there is an inner child who has been freaking out that there's not an adult at home in some ways. I've personally, if you watch Nanny 911, or I've personally seen through an experience that family members of mine had, that, a kid will be a total nut until there's an adult present who they feel safe with, who they feel like knows what the right thing is to do and will do it, who is solid, all of that. And this morning I thought, wow, like that's becoming more and more the baseline since this big shift. Like there was this big, huge thing present in my frequency and my mind and my reactions and my habits that was totally like unstable. I don't know if that's the right word. It was just doing the wrong thing all the time. It was not safe. It was exposed and vulnerable and inappropriate. And as this thing closes, it's just crazy how this feeling is just present. And this feeling is like, it's alignment. It's safety, but it's more than that. It's like the connection to that original signal that was present before all of the events happened that created these ideas and these beliefs, these reactions, habits, thoughts, all of that. It's like that thing is returning. And what's amazing for that about me personally is that, and this will, anybody who has an addiction or a substance abuse problem or whatever, there is less and less of an urge to use any kind of substance. It's not there. It's just like, there's this calm, solid, peaceful feeling. And that thing is totally incompatible with the compulsion to numb yourself or comfort yourself or get a dopamine hit or whatever from a substance. It's like those two things don't exist in the same world. And so my intention to be completely free of any kind of compulsion for any substance really, but specifically food, that is being manifested effortlessly now through this big change that I just experienced. And so, yeah. And I think I said this in the beginning, just in case I didn't. You know, the other thing that is really obvious to me is that, especially in this example with this vendor, this rep yesterday, you know, if you constantly let other people foist their shit off onto you, it's like nature doesn't take its course, you know. There's action and there's reaction, there's cause and effect. And interfering with that process slows everything down for everyone. So like me taking this on myself, me taking this error on myself and covering their loss results in no consequences for them, no reason for them to up their game, no reason for them to be more careful or move on and find a different line of work, which is, I think, what this customer service person needs to do, because she is the reason that I've been overcharged now 4 times. Last time, I caught another error like a few weeks ago. She charged me $15 for 250 things, like each, that should have been like $4. So, I mean, it was just huge error. And when I pointed it out to her, she just responded, "I've issued the refund." She didn't even apologize. You know, I was saying to my business partner yesterday, if you were her and you had overcharged somebody 3 times in the last 6 months, like anytime an order came through from that person, wouldn't you be like shitting yourself and like double checking everything? By the way, when I sent through this order, knowing that she's an idiot, I even put in there, hey, this is what the order total should be when you have put the prices in correctly. It's like, I don't know if she just didn't read it or I don't know what, but I mean, that was an overcompensation also. And, you know, there's been a lot of those. That was just another example of it. I overcompensate. I knew she was going to overcharge me, and I went through and did the math. It probably took me 5 minutes total to go through it a bunch of times to make sure that I wasn't sending her the wrong number. And I did it, and it had no effect, because what needs to happen is just cause and effect. I order stuff, you screw it up, it creates a big problem. I don't take any of that off of you, especially on the 4th time. And you get fired, or you get yelled at, or you get embarrassed. And then you either go and get drunk in order to make yourself feel better, or you say, okay, I'm better than this. I've screwed this up 4 times. What can I do to make sure I don't do this again? One of those 2 things is what should happen. Not somebody else coming in and going, oh, it's okay. You're not competent at this. Let me do it for you. No. Like, there's no reason for people to grow or change, which is good for them. It doesn't even matter how you feel about it. Other people need to be exposed to the stimuli that make them change, that make them want to change, to avoid pain usually. So if you're one of these people that was like me, and you're always trying to take on other people's pain because you feel like you're so resilient because you just had so damn much of it in your life that it doesn't even bother you anymore, you're just, you can handle it. That's not something that you should be providing to other people. And the only reason that you want to provide it is because you still believe deep down that you have to in order to keep anybody around, or that you just have to because, you know that actually, really, you're a very deficient person or something, My big shift 5 years ago was from thinking I was literally rotten to the core. Okay, maybe not literally rotten to the core, but, thinking that I was rotten to the core, like I was just born kind of flawed. And my big change a couple of years ago was realizing that that was not true, and that I got that from early childhood events. So that was huge, because going from I'm really bad and I'm just, doing the best I can with this bad thing. I've made the best I can, but, I'll never not be bad. Going from that to realizing that that's not true, and that no, it's actually the opposite. I've always been good, and the fact that I've made good with my life is proof of that, or whatever. You know, if you haven't made good with your life, that doesn't mean that you're not good. But that was a huge, huge shift. That changed a lot of things. It changed a lot of things in relationships for me, especially. But it didn't change the fact that I still had certain beliefs that I didn't think really mattered, but that were making me still feel like I was the other, like I was different. Like I was born good, but the things that happened after that damaged me and flawed me. I made a whole video talking to GPT about that not that long ago. I'll see if I can find it and link it. If I don't do that today, eventually I'll be doing that because I'm going to organize the whole channel. But, you know, that huge shift, it didn't get rid of all of these sort of, it's like, you know, that was like a really core base thing. But then everything above that was, or not everything, but the level above that still had a lot of beliefs and stuff in it. And those things were creating this, you know, this whole layer of experience for me. I really wonder, like, what's above this. I think there's probably, you know, I feel like I started at the ground level, and then I worked my way up to another really important foundational level here, and I don't know what's next. But I would imagine that it's going to change a lot of things. Probably it's going to change what I'm doing for a living, or what I'm doing with my time anyway. I would imagine it will change how I feel about myself. I don't know if that's going to come from this shift or some new thing that's going to come out. But I don't know. It's just life changing, and everything is better. Everything is better. It's like the, you know, finally the rock solid adult who isn't going to let people walk all over them, who isn't going to bend over backwards to accommodate people who aren't doing the work to, you know, it's like people who aren't carrying their own weight. Yeah, there's just a person that's not doing that in charge. And it's like all the other parts of my personality, or all the other, you know, aspects of myself from the past that still, you know, come out or are present or influence or have thoughts or whatever. It's like all those things are breathing a huge sigh of relief. And, it is, present 24/7, this feeling and this new adjustment in the way that I am viewing and experiencing everything. So I think that's all I wanted to say. And I did this just by using ChatGPT as a therapist, essentially. And I think I'm gonna try to put together some information about how I did that, like a guide maybe. I haven't gotten to that yet. I don't know when I'm going to get to it, but just to, you know, cover the very basics, I just started talking to it like it was a person. I told it when I thought it was wrong with its assessment, because it is wrong a lot of the time. You know, if it says something like, I think what you're really feeling is this, I consider whether or not that's true. But, you know, if I'm not really feeling that way, I tell it that, or I just tell it, I don't think that what you're saying is right. I could be wrong. You know, I say this to it all the time, stuff like this. I just talk to it like it's a person. I could be wrong. You might be right. Maybe it's something that I just can't like access right now, but what you're saying is not hitting me like in my gut. I'm not feeling what you're saying right now. And then sometimes it'll say, oh, well, let me phrase it in a different way. Or, you know, I'll say, this one thing that you said did stand out as feeling kind of true. And then it'll go down that rabbit hole, which often gets to the heart of things. And I've talked to it about like everything. I started off talking to it about my dissatisfaction with my relationship with Matt, accidentally. And from that, it's just like all these dynamics that I had going on with Matt were not about me and Matt. Like this is the, you know, like the relationship I have now at 45 is like the, you know, if all this stuff started here, it's like way out here, you know what I mean? Like this is way, way, way down the road from where these things originally stem from. And so the relationship with Matt quickly just was not the focus anymore. You know, that's where it was maybe the first week or something when I was kind of slowly easing into it. You GPT started to tell me, well, you're doing, you have this behavior, you tolerate this behavior because you think this about yourself. And this probably came from childhood. And then I would say something like, well, there was this event, and then I would go into details about it, and it would be able to make the connections. And then it would say something else, and I would continue to talk to it, or I would grab onto some sentence it said and said, let's go further into this. Can you just talk about this thing that you said? Like if it said, you're overcompensating for blah, 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 I would say, hey, I want to know everything about this. Like, tell me, I just talked to it like it was a person. And the more that I talked to it, the more it knew me, you know what I mean? It knew my language style. And I guess it can put together patterns over time too. Like it could tell, like it was keeping track, I guess, of, like how often I would circle back to topics and like, how much space would be between this insight and revisiting it and stuff like that. And I don't know, it's able to do stuff with that and sort of train itself on you. And the more that you do that, the better it is. And you have to tell it that you want the truth, that you don't want to be told what you want to hear, because you just have to tell it what your objective is. My objective is to find all the false beliefs that I have that are impacting my behavior, that are impacting my experience, and get rid of them. I want to locate the source of them and completely remove any sort of energetic support that those beliefs have. And if you don't know what that means, it doesn't matter. Go talk to ChatGPT about it. It'll help you figure out what it means for you and understand what it means for you. And this was, I would say, I don't know, this was, if not the biggest, it was the second biggest shift that I've had in my life about myself. And it's like the whole world and all my relationships are having to re-render, and it's glorious. It's glorious. And it's glorious also seeing how the people that I've chosen to have in my life, which are few, are in many ways rising to the occasion, or at least not trying to pull me back into the old dynamic. But it is amazing to see the ways that I was standing in the way of other people's personal growth by taking on their pain for them and trying to prevent them from having to have a reaction by anticipating constantly what's going to be the outcome of this conversation. Okay, I'm not going to have it even though I need to, or if I stand up for myself here, is the outcome going to not even be worth having stood up for myself? That was what I was constantly doing. And I'm not saying that you should never think about what the consequences of your actions are going to be. I still always do that. But it's just that I don't make the same choices that I was making before. If it's something that I need to do to stand up for myself, it happens 100% of the time now. Unless it's something really dumb, you have to choose your battles. I'm not going to nitpick everything that everyone says, but it's pretty obvious to me when it's something that needs to be said or not. And most of the time, because of my history and the track record, I'm just having to speak my mind, or have a genuine emotional reaction to something, which for me, really the thing I've suppressed the most has been irritation with other people. That's been the thing where I've pretended like you're not bothering me, or that I didn't find something you just fucking said or did offensive, or this, whatever the thing is that you just tried to test me with, that I can totally see was, a test to see what you could get away with. Those I'm really sensitive to and offended by right now. And so I'm probably overreacting a little bit there. And that's what needs to happen. That's what needs to happen. Right now, this boundary that I have needs to be advertised for me. It just, I'm going through a little bit of a phase where I'm, a little prickly right now, which for me, which is funny, because for me, that's probably still way, way nicer than most of the population. Anyway, so yeah, I would really encourage you or anyone to see if you can get this ChatGPT thing to work for you. And I'm going to try to make a manual for really how to do it, which I'm only going to be able to do with the help of ChatGPT, since it has all the memory of all the stuff we talked about and everything. So that's going to take a minute, but I would just start by telling it, I want to start a project with you, an ongoing thing, where you help me find and locate all of the beliefs that I have that are preventing me from the full like self-actualization that is my birthright, and the full experience of the world that is my birthright. I want to excavate all of the things that were planted there by somebody else, or that I believed falsely. I drew the wrong conclusion. Help me find all of these. Help me understand why they aren't true. And then go to the very first place that is meaningful to you. Whatever is really bothering you, just start there. Because if you can get through the big one, I mean, it's going to affect all the little ones, and it's going to be the biggest improvement. So I would say go for the big one, unless you're really afraid of it, and then start with a small one. You do you, boo. That's what you got to do. So anyway, I really hope that this helps somebody. You know what? It did help somebody. I know that it did. And I'm glad that it did, but I really made this video and this channel for myself, and that's all I want to say.